All right, I'm going to do a quick demo on how to put background images into your SketchUp model. I'm going to send you a link to where a guy goes through like 4 different ways to do this, but he does the first one rather quickly, and I'm going to show you a couple suggestions I have to that one. The first one is the simplest, but I feel like it gives you the most options to manipulate and scale things because some of the options he's giving are really difficult to get right if you don't have like the perfect image to wrap it around and make it a 360. So he does a couple of these ones that really are dependent on having a really good picture. So I'm going to show you first what I did. I want to view out my kitchen. So I literally just wrote in wooded backyard, did an image search. This first one here appealed to me, so I just right clicked and saved image. So I saved it down to my my files, and I think I renamed it as I did it too, just so we could see it a little better. So first thing I do though, however, is I basically make what's like the backdrop, the screen, like the screen for this, and I'll explain in a second kind of why I feel it's important. You can just pull the image in and use it however you want, but I like to make it a whole component, and then I feel like I have some more options for how I want to scale it. It also gives me more options for hiding this thing too. One of the things I first do is, before I go any farther, I paint this like a really obnoxious color, and that way I can kind of see if it's already placed where I want it to be. So let's see, here's my scene here out my kitchen window. And see, I don't have it quite where I need it to be, so I'm going to move it a bit to the left, this whole block. Let's see, I'm not going to make it a component yet. I'll show you why in a second, but I'm going to move it all. Let's see, shift control, make sure I have everything. There we go. All right. All right, now we got it. I could have just stretched that guy too. So let me see. Actually, let's just do that. That'll be quicker. We're going to pull it this way. There's the pull it this way. And now let's check that scene again. Make sure my backdrop's there. Yeah, and it's there. And it's pretty tall too, so I probably don't need it as tall. But here we go. So this is my view outside the window. I make it overscale like this because I might move it backwards or forwards depending on the perspective I want to play with. So then I'm going to import the picture I got. So I'm going to say File, Import. Here it is here that I saved, Wooded Backyard. If you don't see yours right away, make sure that you're looking at JPEGs, that you're importing JPEGs here. Or if you have it in a different format, like a PNG, it might be that, or TIFF. But mine's a JPEG. You could also say all supported types, so then you're going to see everything. But there's Wooded Backyard. All right, now here it is here. It's kind of tipping down on the ground. If I stuck it here, it's going to stand up straight. There it is. Okay. So I think when you did your first project, you used this method and you just move this picture around. That's perfectly acceptable. But like I said, I like to do it a little bit differently. So what I do is I explode this because I want to get this texture here. So then I get my eyedropper over here under materials. I eyedrop it and see, now I have a texture called Wooded Backyard, which I can now paint on this guy. Now, right now, you're seeing it's repeating. I'm not too sure about the scale of it. So if I want to edit this more, I click on the surface there and I say texture. So then I right clicked and got texture. And then I pick position. And now I can kind of play around with how this might appear in my my image. So I'm going to move it over a little bit. Right now it's okay that it repeats because I'm only seeing it out that tiny window. Some of you might need to edit yours in such a way that maybe you're going to stretch it a little bit or enlarge it. See how I've got several options based on what like handlebar I'm using. So let me just make sure I move that over to the right again a little bit. I want to put it like say here. All right, now before we do anything else, I'm going to make this whole rectangle a component. So here I'm going to first delete this guy. Delete that. All right, so I'm going to shimmy it just around just enough so I can get the whole thing pretty easily like this. Right click, make a component. That way I'm going to say background 1, and you're going to have multiples, so make background 1, 2, 3. This way I can scale this guy really easily if I want to. I'll show you that in a minute. But let's see how it looks out my window. Okay, it looks like the trees are really far back in my yard. I don't know. Let me see how I want to play with that. So let me shimmy around. There it goes here. All right, so one of the things, because it's a component now, I can move it around pretty easily without parts being too sticky. So I might want to bring this guy closer. So I'm going to kind of bring it like this. I think I might bring it down a little bit just to see more trees. So let me go see what that looks like now. Yeah, I kind of like that better. I just want sort of generic trees out. But this is the technique I like to do because I feel like it gives you a little bit more options of sort of how you're going to play with this and play with the perspective and the depth, like how far away it is. The other thing you want to make sure to do is, I think my picture is covering it now, but at one point you could see my guidelines. So before you make your final image for Lynn, you want to make sure you unclick axes and guides, because those are gonna, we don't want to see those obviously in your final rendering. But before I leave this, see where I'm here hovering over scene one, I'm gonna right click and say update, and then I'll just say update scene, and that will save any of those things that I've changed or erased. Because let me show you, if I were to drop a guideline in now, if I just try to use the tape measure, see it's not coming up, but they're invisible, which is what we want. Like we don't want to see them in this view at this point in time. All right, so hope that helps. Also, like I said, you're welcome to try some of the tricks in that other video that I added on to the email, but know that some of those are, like I said, are very tricky if you don't have the right image that like naturally wraps all the way around. So this is kind of the simplest, but it gives you a lot more options in terms of sizing it and like handling the depth of how far away things are too. All right, so hopefully this helps, and let me know if you have any questions too on it. Thanks.